Welcome to the QC Live overview. This video will cover the basics for understanding how to open scenarios, create systems, and view backtest results. At the end of the video, we will also see a system on a live chart with auto execution enabled. Here, we are already connected to the TWS platform. I have a blank solution opened. Solutions can be thought of as files that hold scenarios and their systems. To open a scenario, click the New icon underneath File, then enter New Scenario. Name the scenario, select the interval, and then enter the desired symbol. Select Enter when ready. The first step to creating a system is finding a setup pattern. Locate the script window, select the System drop-down, and select Setup. We will focus on the function of this area later. Click any bar on the chart. The conditions box will now populate. These are called setup conditions because they go in the setup section. There are several different categories of setup conditions. Simple conditions show the open, high, low, and close of the selected bar compared to the previous bar. To add one of these conditions to your setup, simply drag and drop it onto the word and or. To modify the condition, select it and then locate the properties box. Here, I can change greater than to less than. When I select Run, every bar in which the close was less than the previous low will now be painted. To remove a condition, right-click it and select Delete. Complex conditions are similar to simple conditions, only they compare the selected bar to the previous bars rather than just the last bar. For example, close is less than the previous low for 2 consecutive bars. The painted bar's close is less than the previous low. The previous bar also has a close that is less than the low of the prior bar. Another way to delete a condition is to select it and press the Delete key on your keyboard. Offset conditions are essentially dynamic simple conditions. Here, you can require the close to be at least 0.75% less than the previous bar's low. Range conditions allow you to place where the close is compared to the entire range of the last few bars. Here, the close has to be in the bottom 25% range of the last 5 bars. Using the property box, you can require it to be in the top 25%. A neat trick is to change the amount value to 0. In this example, only the bars that close at the highest point of the day will receive paint. Conversely, now bars that close at the lowest point of the day will receive paint. The date and time category has 2 types, interday and intraday. If you are creating a daily system, use interday conditions. If you are creating a system in any other interval, such as hourly, use intraday conditions. This is an intraday system. These conditions are all related to the date. Entering day of week as Tuesday would paint all bars that occurred on Tuesday. You can enter as many setup conditions as you like. Here, we will only be looking at Tuesdays that occurred in the second week of the month. To add more than one condition at a time, simply hold down the Control key while clicking the desired conditions. You are probably wondering about the OR section now. First, let me clarify the AND purpose. All conditions listed in the AND section must be true of a single bar for the bar to be painted. If I have the conditions day of week is Tuesday and week is 2, only bars that occur on Tuesday of week 2 will count. I can change that to Tuesday of week 4 easily. Now, let's say I want to see Tuesday of week 2 or week 4. I would keep day of week as Tuesday in the AND section since it is required, then placed week as 4 and week as 2 in the OR section. This now requires that the day of week to be Tuesday and the week to be either the 2nd or 4th week of the month. There are also a few unique intraday conditions, such as first and last trading day of the month and first and last calendar day of the month. If you are looking for first trading day of the month, find a bar that actually is the first trading day of the month. Then view the intraday conditions. Clicking the bar before that also shows special intraday conditions, like last trading day of month. If you cannot find a certain condition listed, find a bar in which that condition is true and click it. Quantum Charts also offers indicator-based conditions. To add an indicator, drag and drop it from the Library Explorer onto the chart. In this window, you can choose different properties of the indicator. For this one, the current period is 8 and it is a simple moving average based on the close. I will also add a 16-period moving average. To access indicator conditions, click this drop-down in the conditions box, then select the desired indicator option that ends with value. In the second drop-down, you can choose if you want to compare the moving average to the market, itself, or another indicator. To get back to the normal setup conditions, simply select the market. To remove an indicator, go back to the Solution Explorer, locate the indicator underneath the scenario, and right-click and select Delete, or simply push the Delete key. More complex ideas often involve more than one bar in the pattern. To add a second group, right-click the word Setup and select New Group. Consider this example. The first bar must have a close that is less than the previous low. Then, since this says is within one bar, the very next bar must have a close that is greater than the previous high. Changing is within one bar to is within two bars means the first bar must have a close that is less than the previous low. Then, one of the next two bars must have a close that is greater than the previous high. You can add several groups to make a 3, 5, even 8 bar pattern. To delete a group, right-click the group and select Delete. Now that we fully understand what setup conditions are, let's study how they are used. You may need to review this section of the tutorial a few times in order to fully absorb it. To make it easier to explain, we will start with an example of a setup bar that has only occurred one time. This setup means that only the last trading day of September of 2013 will receive paint. Above the chart, I can click the Analysis tab. I will pull it out and place it next to the chart for a more visual explanation. The Analysis tab is really the meat of the backtesting section of quantum charts. Be forewarned, the terms close and setup bar are key words in this section and will be used in virtually every sentence. Bar 1 is the close one bar after the setup bar compared to the close of the setup bar. In this example, the setup bar is the last trading day of the month in September of 2013. Bar 1, then, is the close of the next bar compared to the close of the setup bar. Bar 2 is the close of the bar after that compared to the close of the setup bar. Bar 3 is also the close compared to the close of the setup bar. All stats are based on comparing the close of the listed bar to the close of the setup bar. Now note that there are two major sets of statistics, close higher and close lower stats. If bar 1 closed higher than the setup bar closed, the statistics for it are lumped into the close higher section. If bar 2 closed higher than the setup bar, the statistics for it are lumped into the close higher stats as well. Any bar that closed lower than the setup bar go into the close lower stats section. In this example, the first bar after the last trading day of September 2013 closes higher than the last trading day of the month 100% of the time, by an average of 9 cents. Here you can see the setup bar closed at 13.81. Bar 1, however, closed at 13.90. Since there is only one occurrence of this particular setup, the highest that bar 1 has closed higher than the setup bar is also 9 cents. The average peak higher means that when bar 1 closed higher than the setup bar, the average high of that bar was 11 cents greater than the close of the setup bar. The highest high peak means that when bar 1 closed higher than the setup bar, the highest that it ever went than the close of the setup bar was 11 cents. The average peak lower means that when bar 1 closed higher than the setup bar, the average low of this bar was equal to the close of the setup bar. If this value was 1 cent, it would mean that the average low of bar 1 was 1 cent less than the close of the setup bar. The lowest low peak means that when bar 1 closed higher than the setup bar, the lowest that it ever went was equal to the close of the setup bar. Bar 2 stats follow the same logic. It is comparing the close of bar 2, which is 2 bars after the setup bar, compared to the close of the setup bar. In bar 3, you will see some red values. When the average peak lower is red, it means that the average low of this bar is greater than the close of the occurrence bar. Here you can see clearly in bar 4 that the low of this bar is greater than the close of the occurrence bar. Now let's look at bar 5. The close of bar 5 is less than the close of the setup bar. You can see that here. Thus, it is placed in the close lower stats. It closed less than the setup bar by 1 cent. The average high of this bar was 14 cents greater than the close of the setup bar, as you can see here. Now that we have a basic understanding of these statistics, let's broaden the setup. Now we are looking at the last trading day of August and September of 2013. So there are two occurrences of this setup. You can see that bar 1, after each setup, closed higher than the setup bar. If you look at both bar 1 closes, here and here, you will see that on average they are 11 cents higher than the close of the setup bar. The highest close higher, 14 cents, bar 1 right here. The average high of the bar is 18 cents higher than the close of the setup bar. The average low of bar 1 is 3 cents greater than the setup bar close. Now let's remove year as 2013. Now you can see that there are many more occurrences. You can now start to see how beneficial it is to utilize the analysis page statistics. Look at this example. The setup bar is the last trading day of April, June, September, or October. We know that when bar 1 closes higher than the setup bar, it closes higher by 34 cents and has an average high of 45 cents greater than the close of the setup bar. You can utilize these stats by placing a target between 34 cents and 45 cents, since if the trade is going to move in your favor, that is the average move that it has made in the past. However, what if the trade does not go in your favor? When bar 1 closed lower than the setup bar, it was by an average of 28 cents, and the average low of that bar is 42 cents. You can use these stats as a sort of guide to creating your own system with your own stops and targets. Now, let's go back and create our system. In the script window, click this drop-down and then select the top line. It is important to note that the analysis will only run correctly if you are running just the setup. If you run an entire system, the analysis stats will not update. Note that there is a red exclamation point in the upper right. This means my system is not valid. This is because I do not have an entry condition or an exit condition. To bring up entry conditions, select the line with the green arrow, or select the Show Trigger Conditions icon. You can see that there are a large amount of entry conditions. We will use at next bar open. As of now, my system will enter on the open of the bar after the last trading day of the listed months. Select the Close line or locate the close conditions in the Show Triggers Conditions section to view the conditions you can use for exiting the trade. Here, I will use a simple exit of on close of entry bar. This system will watch for the last trading day of April, June, September, or October and then enter on the next bar's open and exit on the close of that same bar. To adjust the lot size, click the entry line, long or short, and change the size value in the properties box. Now I will have a 1,000 share lot size. Look for a green check mark in the upper right. This lets you know the system is valid. Note that I can also select the green arrow and change the side from long to short. Upon running this completed system, I can click the Performance. Now I am able to see the backtesting results. Since January 4th of 1984, this system has a net profit of $16,200. Out of our 120 trades, 65% of the trades were winners, and my average profit factor was 2.794. My largest winner was also 3 times larger than my largest loser. You can scroll down further to see a breakdown of the drawdown statistics. To view individual trades, locate the Trades tab. By default, they are in chronological order. You can click any column to sort them any other way. Here, I now have them sorted by their yield. If you select a trade, the chart will scroll back to that entry date. We will now look at the auto trading feature. Click the drop-down in the upper right. If you are connected to Interactive Brokers, you will see a Sim and a Live choice. If you are not connected, you will only see a Sim choice, short for Simulator. Selecting Sim will allow you to run the system based off of randomly generated ticks, simulating how the system would actually enter and exit. Selecting Live will let you actually run the system through your broker. Once you select Live or Sim, note that you cannot alter the system any longer. This is because editing the system while it is running could have negative effects. To edit the system, simply select Test and make the desired changes. Then switch back. To start running the system, simply press the Run button. When the setup bar occurs, it will receive paint, as will the entry bar and then the exit bar. If you want to edit a system that is currently running, you must select Stop and then switch back to Test to make any changes. I will create an intraday system to display the auto trading feature. To change the time interval for a chart, select the interval drop-down. I am now creating a 1-minute system. This system will now buy 100 shares of BAC at $2.16 and exit at a 2-cent trailing stop. The trade has now entered. To bring up the Accounts tab, double-click the Sim or the Live account in the Library Explorer. Here you can see that I purchased 100 shares of BAC. Down here you can see the pending trailing stop. If I wanted, I could manually close this trade by right-clicking and selecting Close, or close this order by right-clicking and selecting Cancel. The trade is now closed. I can see the results in the Trades tab. The Accounts tab now shows the position as flat, and the pending order was filled. To stop a system from auto execution, simply click the Stop button. If necessary, be sure to click File and Save in order to save your solution before closing. If you have any questions about this product, auto execution, or any of the systems, please contact support by going to www.quantumcharts.com and clicking Live Chat on the left, or simply email support@quantumcharts.com. Thank you.